I've begun a new apocalyptic literature read, and this one is unlike anything else I've read so far. It might actually be more than just a guilty pleasure read. You might like it. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things we enjoy. Today, a Just Jim episode, as I'm bringing you my book reaction to The Bleed Rupture, a story that I've just recently read and want to share with you. This will be a spoiler-light episode, so if you haven't read it yet, you're perfectly safe being here. If you enjoy this, be sure to hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, Zach and I sure hope you will. Thanks. So, The Bleed Rupture is part of a trilogy. This three-book set is written by apocalyptic authors David Moody, Chris Philbrook, and Mark Tufo. All three have plenty of other published works out here in this general genre. Of course, I've featured Mark Tufo many times on this channel. Search his name, you'll find other episodes. The trilogy has been published by Devil Dog Press, a small, independent, veteran-owned publishing company, which I believe is being spearheaded by Mark Tufo, but don't quote me on that. But I think he's living the dream, man. He started out self-published, and he's gotten so successful over time that now he's helping others bring their works out in a published manner. I can't find that confirmed, but reading between the lines, looking at the website, social media posts, I think this is Mark Tufo's doing. And I love it. All the books on this site are the kind of things I certainly enjoy reading. Book 1, Rupture, came out in 2020. Book 2, Rapture, came out in early 2021. And Book 3, Armageddon, later in 2021. So these haven't been around all that long. They are pandemic publications, and I'm really enjoying them. My thoughts here just on Book 1, Rupture. This has 3 storylines in the same book. The first has a medieval setting. The second is here in current times. The third in the future. Not super distant, but definitely a bit beyond where we are today. These settings, the medieval one is unclear where it's set. It kind of seems European style, but the nations, the area, the names are not something you recognize. The current day setting is totally recognizable. You're in London. And the third one, it's also quite recognizable, but not somewhere you could visit. You're up on the moon, okay? And it's a moon colony that's up there because Earth has gone to crap and they needed to go somewhere else. The primary conflict of the book actually impacts all 3 of these settings. But you get a prologue that helps lay it out here. And I'm going to give you basically that much to understand what this book is about. Without full details, there was an ancient race that achieved vast, superior technological advancement and pretty much had it made. Everything was wonderful. They'd also developed as a species, so they had vast personal capabilities and powers. And were living utopia, the dream, complete bliss. And then things went to crap. Just natural disasters, everything fell apart, and they ended up in a situation where their society was unsustainable. Most of the people in the society then turned inward at themselves, trying to get what they needed for their own purposes, and devolving from this beatific, wonderful race to a terrible circumstance that's just devouring anything it can. A small segment of the population tried to hold out against that, tried to continue to work for the good of others, try to reestablish society or perhaps save what it could, and in the end was going to fall to the other vastly larger part of the population. So this smaller group fled, got off planet, and has never stopped fleeing. This happened eons ago. And now we have in the universe, but not just the universe, we find out in the multiverse. So all these different dimensions of existence We have creatures known as the gods, which are these all powerful, all wonderful beings that fled. And then we have the bleed, which has just an ever ceaseless drive to consume all, a hunger that never ends, a desire to take everything that's out there and bring it unto its own. So now we get to experience what happens as the bleed impacts these three different settings in distinctly different ways. Both the gods and the bleed are involved in these settings, and poor humans are stuck in the middle and pretty much powerless. The ability, the strength, the power of the gods, gods, and the bleed, humans can't do a thing about it. Their greatest strength and power against them is like nothing, like fleas. Now, again, the gods, these aren't really gods. They're just so far advanced above humanity that they're practically gods. And that's part of the interesting plot that comes into play. Now, the one X factor involved here is that there are some humans who turn out to be half god, because the gods have sometimes mingled and bred and left behind their spawn, for lack of a better term. In some cases, we have humans who know that they are half human, half god. In others, we have people who completely don't realize it until, whoa, this is happening, and they get a surprise. You may be the only hope of humanity, kind of thing. And how do they adapt, and what can they do? And none of these beings fully understand their capacity, what their powers might be, how they might be able to do something to help fight off the bleed, if that's even possible. But that's part of what we're discovering as you read Rupture. So again, book one, Rupture, is this bleed entering into each of these settings and totally disrupting what was just normal life in very different time periods. Because of the way that's written, then, you get three very diverse settings. Yes, one unique bad guy. But how it plays out, what it does in those different times, different settings, different civilizations or societies, basically, is very unique. And yet you're looking for parallels. The things you're learning about the bleed in one setting, how does it apply to the others? Things you learn about the gods, how does that apply in each of the areas? And you're getting the chance to put all these pieces together. I enjoyed the deeper story going on in the background as well, that you don't realize initially, but as you move further through the book, you can tell there's something else going on here. There's something slowly developing. And then the end of the book, that background story explodes into front and center and makes you realize you immediately have to move on to book two, which is what I did. I'm reading book two, Rapture, right now, and we'll have it done shortly. One last note, there are some terrific characters to meet in this book. I know Mark Tufo writes great characters. Clearly, David Moody and Chris Philbrook have similar qualities. I've particularly enjoyed getting to know Maddie, the engineer slash machine specialist that you meet in the Moon setting. She's great. I love her snark. I love her attitude. And certainly I love her capabilities. But there are plenty of other key players that suck you in that you'll meet in each of these settings. I give big recommendation to this series based on book one already. I love seeing the multiple ways that everything has come crashing down because of the bleed. And can they stop it? I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it's possible. I'm going to keep working to find out, and I think you might enjoy discovering that as well. By the way the bleed does all this, ugh, it's disturbing. It's disgusting. It's inventive. You know, that for me just means it's all delightful. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Don't forget, like and subscribe. If you do pick this up, let me know what you think of it. Drop it in the comments or down in the show notes. You can find all the other ways to connect with Zach and I. We have a Discord server. There's an invite down there. And we're on social media, mostly Twitter, X these days. We've got a couple others mentioned too, but it's X where we're most prominent. Now, if you drop comments on Mastodon, I'll see those too. Facebook, honestly, we're not checking anymore. I should cancel Facebook. Facebook kind of sucks. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.